You had no track experience in high school.
No.
No track experience in college.
No.
How does an adult get into competitive track and field?
Well, I started as a personal trainer back when I was like, after I had my third kid. And just as part of staying in shape, I started to run. And one time, one of my friends gave me this dare, like, let's put our kids in double stroller and see if we can run the Red Rose run at an 8-minute pace together, like pushing the kids. So I did that, but the day before the race, she bailed on me, so I ended up running it alone, and I did fairly well. And it just put a thought in my mind, like, what if I started to actually like train and maybe do some 5Ks, like how well could I do? And so I did 5Ks for maybe like 2 or 3 years, and I got a coach, and I started to be able to place in the top 3 in some races, but I really hated it. It was like, I always by mile 2, I would be like, why am I doing this? Like, they're usually Saturday mornings, I was like, everybody else is at home in their pajamas reading the paper, and I'm like, I hated it. And so then, as part of my training, my coach had me do like the mile, and I realized I was pretty good at the mile. So I found a couple mile events and started competing in that, and my time got good. And then part of my mile training was to run 800s. Okay. And I realized the shorter the distance, the more I was enjoying it, and the better I was doing competitively. Okay. So I kind of discovered by default that I was a sprinter. And somewhere in the midst of all that, I ran into a person on the track who competed in Masters track and field, and I had never heard of that before. So that's track and field for anyone over the age of 30. Okay. So it's like you're kind of past your prime to compete in the Olympics anymore, but you still want to stay competitive. So I went to my first event, I think it was 4 years ago, and trained for the 400 in that. And I've been doing it ever since. I just loved it. So it's a way to really bring some focus into my workouts, because everything I do revolves around, like, I'm either on the track or in the weight room, and it brings me a lot of structure and discipline around that goal.
So what is your specialty in track and field?
So the 400 has been my baby for the last 3 years. Okay. And that's what I competed in Worlds last year in the 400. I came in 8th. But I think this year, just to kind of keep it fun and switch it up, I asked my coach if I could try the 1 and 200. So I'm doing something a little different with my training this year. Okay. We'll see how that goes.
So talk to me about this Worlds competition. Did you have to qualify and then walk me through going to that? So Worlds happens every 2 years in a different country each year. And anybody can come, but people aren't going to spend that sort of time commitment and financial commitment if they're not running good times. So it brings like the best people from all over the world, and it was such an amazing experience. Like to see, so you compete in age groups every 5 years. You move up in age groups. So you see people out there like in their 70s, 80s, like these people are still hurdling, sprinting, like running the mile. It's amazing. There was even some people in the 95 to 100 age group. Like by that time, there was only like 2 or 3 athletes from around the world. But like the crowds went crazy for them because most people give up on themselves, by a certain age and think they're too far gone. And here are these people who are still training themselves, staying in shape, and competing. Even if it takes them 30 seconds to run 100 meters, they're light years ahead of most people that aren't even alive or sitting in a wheelchair. So it was amazing to see these athletes of all these different ages competing out there. So as far as in my age group, I think we started with, there was 40 women in my age group, and then you have to run preliminaries to narrow it down to the top 16. And then you have to run semifinals to narrow it down to the top 8, and then you run the finals. So you actually have to race a couple times to get to the final heat. Okay. Yeah. That's amazing. So how did you like Spain? They were in Spain when you went, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I really didn't get to enjoy it that much.
No?
No, because there's so many races. Like, okay. So I had to run the 400 3 times, and then I ran on a 4x1 relay team and a 4x4 relay team. So between like the racing and trying to rest and recover, the days in between, like I really didn't get out much. It was all business. It was business. Okay. In the Oval Office.
And that's what you call the track.
Yeah, right.
Okay, cool. So I guess track has become like a lifestyle for you now, right?
It kind of is. I mean, there's a lot of other things that are important to me and priorities. That's just like one segment of who I am or one aspect of who I am. But it gives me so much back in return. Like I'm able to, feel great and, enjoy movement and fitness and health and that sort of thing. It also gives me that sense when you work really, really hard for something and then you see it come to fruition. I don't know if you would call that like just a sense of accomplishment or pride or that sort of thing, that it's like really hard to manufacture that in life, Yeah. So this one, I call it a hobby, but it has positive like benefits in every area of my life. Yeah.
What are some other hobbies?
Well, I love anything related to self-improvement. So, that's kind of in my field, but I love to read, like, I love to learn from the masters, like Tony Robbins and some of these other guys, Steve Covey, like some of those people. So I read, I run, and I have 3 kids. So that's my hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you've turned this into kind of a life coaching?
Yeah, I actually started, before I became a personal trainer, like I graduated with a social work degree. So I've always really loved helping people.
From where?
Eastern Mennonite University.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it was after I had kids that I got more into the fitness field, and I still was able to help people the same as social work. Like that's never changed about me. It's just now it was more like quantitative goals, like weight loss and fitness and this many reps and this kind of nutrition. So it was just a different sort of helping. When I was in social work, it was more just like, helping families reunite and that sort of thing.
Are there life lessons you've found in track that you can directly relate to people to help them in their goals?
Yes, I think so. I mean, one thing in particular is we operate a lot on our feelings. So if we feel like working out, what do I feel like having for dinner? What do I feel like this or that? And when you want something and you're committed to getting it, you have to put your feelings aside for a higher goal. Okay. So like with track, there's days that I know what I have to do out there and I'm not looking forward to it because it's going to be really uncomfortable. But like you can't feel it. You just have to just put your head down and put the work in. And so sometimes, with my coaching clients, there's some things sometimes we need to honor the feeling for a minute and then let it go. You can't sit in it or it'll actually keep you from taking action on the things that you want the most in life. So I think there definitely are some lessons, from training that I've learned to carry into coaching. So I owned Empower Training Systems for about 10 years and then just recently sold that business. That was a fitness training business. Okay. Because I just really wanted to focus on more helping people. Yes, we can do reps in the gym, we can get some pounds off, we can teach you what to eat, but I was started to be more concerned kind of with my roots with social work, like helping people to really dial into changing the way they think and feel about themselves so that can then produce results on the outside, because I saw too many people over the years that we helped on the outside that didn't change the inside, and so you find people always come back to their set point. So that those people a year or two later might have gained the same weight back that we worked so hard to get off, or be stuck in the same lifestyle patterns that we worked so hard to change before because we hadn't addressed inner issues. So as time went on in the fitness business, I just really felt like I really wanted to have integrity with my clients and really address root issues, and I couldn't just keep writing workouts and giving nutrition plans when I didn't really believe anymore that was the true impetus for change. So the life coaching has been a more recent switch.
Now, you might have said this already, but what was your major in college?
It was social work.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What got you into that? Where did that come from? That was pre-track, right?
Yeah, that was
where did that
was it 20 years ago?
spawn?
I just kind of think I was born that way.
Okay.
I just get so much joy from helping people, and not just, it could be, helping a kid you do a homework problem, but it's more from helping people achieve their goals. That is what really gives me joy, and that's been just part of who I am since I was a kid. So the greater the reach, or the more I'm able to do that, the more I'm living in my calling. So.
You should almost write a book.
I did.
Oh, all right.
I did just write a book.
Did it come out already?
Yeah, actually, I have a stack of them over there.
What's it called?
It's called Living Younger.
Okay, and
Yeah.
what's the idea behind that?
The main point of the book is that is to empower people to really take control of their life rather than let their life take control of them. So it's the message throughout is like there's some things you can't control, but there's a lot more things you can. And so taking charge of your priorities so that you can live your best life. So as it relates to living younger, that's, you know, people kind of wake up in their maybe late 40s, early 50s, and they're not moving well. There's pain, there's inflammation, they've gained some weight, and you can feel victimized by life or sorry for yourself or like there's no hope. But this book was, I just wanted to really empower people and show them that there's like really specific, easy things that you can do preventatively to start being in charge of your health and your fitness.
Do you have any advice for kids starting out wanting to run?
Yeah, I would say if running is fun and it feels good, running, most people think you just go out and do it, but it's actually a skill.
Okay.
So you actually have to develop form, and the better your form is, the more your body's coordinating together, and you know, you're doing running drills to kind of get that mind-body coordination, the better you're going to feel when you're running and the faster you're going to be. So it's not just like, you know, you're just, some people are inherently, they have that really good coordination and they're just fast, you know, but for anyone who's like thinking about running, like it takes practice like any other sport.